Hello and welcome. This is Jim Karp along with Chris Rosmarin. And Chris, we have talked about the cannabis industry before. And I know Raymond has quite a practice focused in on cannabis, and there's a whole bunch of updates. So can we start with a little bit of a background and give us the context of the big picture, and then we can get into some of the nuances?
Sure, Jim, and thanks for hosting me here. I am a principal in Raymond's Grand Rapids office. I am part of the cannabis industry practice. I lead the assurance part of that practice, and we perform audits and reviews and attestations to cannabis licensees. But now we're, due to these new requirements, we're going to be focused on performing these annual reporting requirements to the state of Michigan that the state of Michigan just came out with a few days ago, and we're here to talk a little bit about those requirements. Generally, what they require is an agreed upon procedures report from a CPA licensed in the state of Michigan, and that agreed upon procedures report would be based on the CPA's findings with respect to 9 different areas. And among those areas are revenues, disbursements, license agreements, excise taxes, payroll taxes, and other areas. And while a lot of cannabis companies that I know are, really focused on just getting their operations up and running, this requirement will kind of be a little bit time consuming for those cannabis companies that haven't really been focused on the financial aspects of their business. But that's the role of the CPA to help out and perform these procedures. These requirements, like I said, just came out, but for most licensees, the agreed upon procedures are going to be due October 31st of 2020. So there's not a lot of time between now and then to get this out. And it's required for all licensees that were licensed prior to December 31, 2019. There was a requirement last year, but it was only for those who were licensed prior to July 31, 2018. And I think there were only about 6 or so of those companies in the state of Michigan. So this is going to affect a lot more licensees than the prior years. And what's also, there's also a requirement that if you were licensed between August 1st, 2018 and December 31, 2018, there's a requirement for 2 separate agreed upon procedures reports covering the different fiscal years. So I encourage all those licensees to start reaching out to a CPA and coordinating the effort to meet these deadlines.
So Chris, if I'm a licensee and I have to engage a CPA, what can I expect from that CPA, and what should I do to be prepared to make it go smoothly?
Yeah, great question. First, you should reach out to the CPA, and they're probably going to ask some questions and kind of coordinate timing and fees with you. But they're going to require access to all your, kind of financial records, in particular, your general ledger, where you record all of your transactions, because their requirement is to select, transactions. And depending on your size, if you're a large licensee, there could be a significant amount of transactions they review and document. So having access, giving the CPA access to those transactions, having supporting documentation like invoices, payroll records, any agreements you have with vendors or suppliers. There's a requirement, for instance, to review even the security agreements or IT agreements. So just having a CPA, having all of your financial information organized will help make the process go a lot smoother, and also less costly as well, because the CPAs will probably be billing based on the amount of time it takes them to complete these procedures.
Okay, now you said there's a deadline coming up in October. and you're encouraging people to get out there and get started. So what's a normal time frame, and what's a realistic time frame to say how long does it take to take typically to do an audit? And then secondly, how far in advance should I be doing this so I don't miss that deadline?
Yeah, I think, if you have if you give the CPA access to all the records and have everything kind of lined up by the time they start, start to finish, it shouldn't take more than a week for them to review the transactions. If they request information and it's not ready, then that will drag things out. But I encourage you to start sooner than later because, having CPAs typically get, especially assurance CPAs like myself, start the summer months are a better time for us as far as capacity goes. And if, everybody waits till October, then, you might have difficulties finding a CPA to perform these procedures. So the sooner you can reach out and coordinate the logistics regarding the agreed upon procedures, the better. And I just want to note too that this is not just a one-time thing. This is going to be an annual requirement that the state of Michigan requires. It's really the state's one opportunity to, kind of regulate these cannabis licensees. So that's why the procedures are as extensive as they are. They just see this as an opportunity for them to make sure that they've got the oversight that they need to ensure, at the end of the day, what they're trying to ensure is that, they're getting their fair share of, taxes from each of these licensees. And this is um, the vehicle that they came up with to, help give them oversight over that.
Okay, that's a good update. Now, you'd mentioned earlier that you have a cannabis practice here at Raymond. So can you share a little bit about that practice and where things are headed for that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Not only do we have the assurance side, which I lead, but we've got professionals in our cannabis practice that really can help cannabis licensees with, many aspects of their business. Not just again the audit side, the assurance side, but we've got tax professionals that specialize in cannabis licensees, and not just the annual compliance, but setting up these companies to make sure that they're tax efficient, and that the legal structure is, optimal for tax purposes. We have professionals that can help licensees with the HR side of things, making sure that benefits are, incentivizing the employees and that all the compliance aspects are addressed. We have professionals that can help with IT needs, making sure that you've got the hardware and software and controls in place to ensure that for instance, your IT system is not being inappropriately accessed. We have professionals that can help with the day-to-day accounting, the bookkeeping, the processing of transactions. A lot of licensees, are just focused on the grow or the dispensary side of their business. But our professionals can help with the day-to-day back office part of the business. And really, any of the back office function that a company would have, Raymond is here to help you with.
That's great. Any parting thoughts?
No, again, I encourage cannabis licensees to, get started early on this before the deadline of October 31. And if anyone has just even more questions about the scope of this, of these requirements, and just want to talk over the process, feel free to reach out to me. My phone number is 616-258-4056, and happy to chat through with you these requirements.
All right. Thanks, Chris Rosemarin, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jim.